Today has been an absolutely wild news day. If you clicked on this video, I'm sure you already know to a certain extent this Elon Musk Donald Trump beef that just escalated and skyrocketed out of nowhere. It seems like they're coming at each other's throats. They're basically like mortal enemies now after being besties a few weeks ago. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through everything that's been said at the point of this recording, just the back and forth, all the tweets, what Trump has said in the press conferences. I tried to organize it in a timeline of when everything went on accurately. And then at the end, I'll kind of summarize everything and give my opinion on what I think about this whole situation, who's in the wrong, who's in the right, and just what happens now going forward. So what first was really the past few days, Elon Musk has been really big on the one big beautiful bill that Trump wants to pass, has been very critical of it, calling out mainly senators and congressmen that he hasn't really attacked Trump that much. It's more of Congress because Congress is the one writing it. They're the ones that vote to pass it. Trump just signs it. So he's been calling them out. So basically yesterday, he puts out this tweet and says, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. And it's had 44 million views. So this reached pretty much everyone. Basically how a lot of this escalated. So Trump was asked about this a couple times during a press conference today. Let's see what he says the first thing right here.
All of the things that nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, you know, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate and, you know, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, you know, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, you know, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning.
So basically, he starts out by saying that Elon Musk is upset because they're cutting out the EV subsidies. So Elon's immediate response was, whatever, keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil or gas subsidies are touched. Very unfair, but ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. In the entire history of civilization, there has never been legislation that both big and beautiful, everyone knows this. Either you get a big and ugly bill or a slim and beautiful bill. Slim and beautiful is the way. So then he's talked about more about this later on.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
So Donald Trump claims that Elon Musk knew about everything in the bill pretty much. He knew better than most people. So I'm kind of torn on this. One, Elon is so close to Trump. He definitely knew the EV mandate was coming. He had to have known more about this bill than he's letting on, because there's no way how close he was with Trump, the whole government, there's no way he didn't know a lot of this stuff. So Elon says here, false, this bill has never been shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress can even read it. So I do support that there. They did try to push it through really fast, and even Marjorie Taylor Greene admitted she didn't read part of the bill that she's against, supposedly. And I guarantee you, a lot of Democrat politicians didn't even read it. They were just going to vote no matter what. A lot of the Republican politicians probably didn't read it. They were just going to vote yes no matter what. I 100% believe that. So that's why I think Elon knew probably some of the stuff in this bill, but he probably didn't read it just as much as anyone in Congress did. So I'm kind of torn on that. So this is where Elon starts accusing Trump and saying that he would have lost the election if it wasn't for him. So he says, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. I think Trump's would have still won. Whether he wins the House or not, I don't know. Maybe that little extra money helped a few House races here, but I think no matter what, Trump would have won the election. So this is Elon Musk in 2021 talking about the budget that he's been big on, and I believe he mentions the subsidies. Maybe he doesn't in this video. He's talking about the budget here.
The federal budget deficit is insane. It's like $3 trillion. Federal expenditures are $7 trillion. Federal revenue is $4 trillion. That's a $3 trillion difference in. If this was a company, it'd be a $3 trillion loss. So I don't know if we should be adding to that loss. That seems pretty crazy. Something's got to give. You can't just spend $3 trillion more than you own every year and expect, don't expect something bad to happen. I think, this is not good. The deficit is more than $3 trillion when you look at the future obligations. So it's $7 trillion of current expenditures, but it's much more than that if you look at future obligations for Social Security, Medicare, and so forth.
So he's not wrong when it comes to this stuff. Like the deficit and the budget and everything is a huge issue. And he has been consistent on it, give him that. So then he starts calling out, he starts looking at Donald Trump's old tweets. So this is from July 31st, 2012. No member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced. Deficit's not allowed. Elon just shared that now. Other posts too. I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I am Republican and I am embarrassed. So he says wise words. And then same thing right here. He shared that one twice. So he's kind of on this savage. I'm just going to stay on X. Elon then later posts, and some food for thought as they ponder this question. Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I will be around for 40 plus. I guess this means that people are supposed to automatically sign with him because he's supposed to be around longer. I guess that's what his mindset is. Like Trump can only do things for a few more years. I can do things like forever. And he's saying 40 plus, so he's assuming he's going to live to 100. We'll see. Okay, so this is when President Trump starts fighting back a little bit, because a lot of the stuff when Elon was doing this, Trump was in his press conference. He was talking to the leader of Germany, I believe. So, he couldn't respond to this later. So his first post, he puts, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. And then he says, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contract. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. So now he's talking about canceling contracts for Tesla, SpaceX, all of his companies that he has government contracts through. I think SpaceX is probably the biggest one. And I will say, I think I have a video of this. I'm not 100% sure, but there is a video of Elon Musk years ago when the Democrats were drafting the Inflation Reduction Act. And I think it was the Inflation Reduction Act when they're talking about including this $7,500 electric car write-off or whatever. And Elon Musk said he didn't support it. And he also didn't support the government funding putting electric chargers all over the country. He said it's unnecessary. So I will give him credit for that. So Elon Musk responds later, or not really responds, but he posts this. Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? And this has 14 million views. I'm going to click on one of the answers to see 1.5 million votes to see what it is. Yes, 82% of people said yes. Wow. That's interesting. RFK was pretty much that. He still wasn't getting the support, though. So then Elon starts calling out Speaker Johnson and the Senate leader Thune. So Speaker Johnson says at some point, Congress has to stop this endless cycle of out-of-control deficit spending back in 2018. He goes, I super agree with this guy. John Thune, the Senate leader, says our nation is deeply, deeply in debt right now. Next year, our country will owe more than we produced for the first time since the end of World War II. That's a very bad place to be. End of 2020. Elon Musk says, where is John Thune of 2020? And it's just, this whole stuff's crazy. I'm trying not to rush through it, but at the same time, I want to kind of get to my thoughts. There's a lot going on in between these two, and I'm still trying to process that. This whole thing is just crazy. I would never, Elon's been a little nitpicky here and there recently when it comes to the bill, which there are a lot of things I don't agree with the bill either. I do think there's a lot good in the bill too, though, but I would like a lot of bad stuff removed. Yeah, it's just old things crazy. So Thomas Massey tweets this and says, the House has a 72-hour rule which requires the bill to be posted 72 hours for passage. But the Speaker circumvented this rule with a, quote, manager's amendment that rewrote and added substantial portions of the bill as it went through the Rules Committee the night the bill was passed. There's another House rule which requires a day to pass before voting on a bill after the Rules Committee has modified it. Would you believe the House voted to suspend that so-called same-day rule? This means the final language of the bill was released only a few minutes before the debate began. The vote on the rule changed, and the vote on the bill followed within a couple of hours. Elon is right. Members of Congress didn't even know what was in the bill. So I will say, I don't care what side you're on this beef. That's 100% wrong. I always felt like this bill was rushed, 100%. And I guarantee you, people on the left voted no. I already said this, I think. People on the left voted no, just vote no. People on the right voted yes, vote yes. I guarantee you, most of these people didn't even read the bill. And personally, me, if I was a congressman, I would have just voted no instantly and been like, give us time to read this before you push it through. Just for that principle. I hate on both sides. It is in the Biden administration too. When they cram bills through, just to cram them through when no one knows what's even in them because everyone puts their little own things that they want and that's all they care about is themselves. It's ridiculous. It needs to stop. So Elon says, not even those in Congress who had a vote on the big, ugly spending bill had time to read it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene did admit to that. So she's probably not the only one. Now, this is where it gets absolutely insane. Elon Musk posts, time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And then he posts underneath that, mark this post for the future, the truth will come out. This is insane. For so many, one, if this were ever to be true, the president being on there is absolutely insane, and that would be absolutely horrible. Two, you're telling me that you knew, supposedly, so say Trump was on the files, right? You knew this, and you still had your child around him? You still openly hung out with him? Like, I think that's worse than saying he's on. Now, what if he was on it and everything he did would be bad? Yes. But if you knowingly know that, and then you still have your kid around him, like that's the part that doesn't add up. If Elon Musk truly believed this, he would have not had his child around him. I would hope not anyway. And then apparently someone showed that he got fact-checked by his own AI, Grok. So someone said, is this true? Grok says, evidence shows Donald Trump's name is in Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs, part of the Epstein files, but there's no indication of wrongdoing. The files were released by Trump administration on February 27, 2025, contradicting claims they were withheld to protect him. While speculation persists, no new incriminating details about Trump have emerged from credible sources. The topic is controversial and public narratives often differ. So that's a big thing too, is I believe in the flight logs, it shows him in there. Like, he hasn't denied that, I don't think. I think in the flight logs, it shows like where you're going, like when you sign your name. I don't think any of them ever connected him to the island. I think it did for Bill Clinton and a few others. Like RFK Jr. is on the flight too. Like, I think it was really common for Epstein to like rent out his jet to people. But as far as we all know, he is not on the, he's never been to the island. Maybe more information will come out. I don't know. So I think Elon was just saying that to say that. I don't think he actually believes it. And like Victor Neves here, if Elon believed Trump was on the Epstein Island pedo, why would he have allowed Trump to be around his son? You wouldn't. If any normal parent would not allow that, you wouldn't. See, like, look at him. You wouldn't do that. And so Trump had a response. I'm getting to the end of all this. I know it's a lot of information to take in. So he says, I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the budget tax cut ever, biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and the things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts our country on the path of greatness. Make America great again. So yeah. And then at the very end of this, Ian Miles Chong says, President versus Elon. Who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached and JD Vance should replace him. Elon shared this and said yes. So to put it bluntly here, Ian Miles Chong is a grifter and does anything to try to get Elon's attention. Elon makes a lot of money off of X's creator fund thing when Elon shares his tweets. So his opinion is heavily biased on him trying to get money. And also Ian Miles Chung, I believe, is from the Philippines. He's not even American. So that's just stupid. So one more thing to add on to all this, and then I'll give kind of my thought on this. Tesla stock has plummeted since this whole thing started. So it was trading about 320, 325 a share at the beginning of this and dropped all the way to what, 275 at one point. Looks like it bounced back a little bit. It was plummeting during this whole beef. Insane. All right, so now for my thoughts on all this. One, I think the bill does have issues like Elon says. I think there's a lot of good in there. I think no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. His tax cuts continuing because they do expire this year is very important because, like Trump said, everyone's paychecks will shrink if his tax cuts don't go through. The liberals been using this talking point, saying like 4 billion or 4 trillion tax cuts to billionaires or whatever. It's literally just an extension of the tax cuts we've all been living in for 8 years. There's no new tax cuts for anyone. It's the same. That's what he's extending. So that's misleading. There's a lot of there's like I think a write-off for if you buy American cars. There's helping Social Security, I believe, when it comes to taxes. There's a lot of good stuff in this bill that I fully support and I think would be really helpful to the American people. The child tax credit has increased. They have some new savings thing for if you have a kid. That'll help. There's also things I don't like. Like, I don't like one thing Thomas Massey pointed out when he was talking to Tim Pool was that they're saying the Green New Deal stuff's going, but it's not fully gone. So before, if you were a normal person, you could buy solar panels and write them off as a tax deduction. You can't do that anymore, but companies still can. I think that's wrong. I think it should be both companies and people, or no one should be able to do that. That's wrong. Also, the salt tax increase. The salt tax deduction shouldn't even exist. Okay, all you're doing, basically, the salt tax deduction is I have money. I live in a state like New York City or New York State or California that slams me in property taxes. So the federal government helps subsidize that. So us everyday Americans who pay federal tax dollars subsidize rich people and their big houses because they have high property taxes in that blue state. That's wrong. You live in a blue state. You chose to buy that big of a property. That's on you. We should not subsidize that. So in Trump's first term, there was no cap on it at all and got it down to 10,000. And now they want to increase that, I think, to 40,000. It's ridiculous. So there is a lot of stuff in there. And I wish for Elon to help his argument here, I think the best thing he could do when he says there's a bunch of pork in here, point out examples. What are you talking about pork? Get it out there. Tell people what you mean. Show specific things in the bill that you don't like. That would help you. Because I do agree the deficit is a big deal. The reason the deficit increases from this, and it's not from extra spending like people are trying to act, it's because thanks to all the tax cuts in it, there's going to be less money the government is raking in. That's why the deficit would go up. So they do need to cut more spending, which there's still plenty of time to do. All these numbers are based off if Trump doesn't cut any federal funding for anything in the next 4 years. There's plenty of time to do that. Federal spending did go down 5% in the first quarter this year. First time in years that's happened. So I do believe Trump's still working on that. I wish he'd emphasize that more going forward. We're going to cut more and more and more because that's what needs to happen. So yeah, there's ups and downs to this bill. I think overall the bill is a good thing. I wish they would work on cutting some of that other stuff out and work on the extra spending being cut out too. Because we're paying $1 trillion a year in interest now on our debt, which is insane. So those are my thoughts on the bill. This whole beef thing, I think Trump is wrong when it comes to the EV mandate and saying Elon's mad. I think he's trying to use that as an excuse because there's evidence. I can see if I can try to find it. There's literally a video of him years ago saying it's not necessary. Like Elon doesn't agree. Elon himself, right here. Okay, let me play this.
We don't need the $7,500 tax credit. I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation.
What about the support though for the charging network? I mean, there are parts of this bill and no.
No, I mean,
see, he doesn't agree with it. So I think Trump is wrong there. Yeah, I don't. I think that's just Trump like trying to make an excuse for why he's acting the way he is. And it's really interesting this how this is all blown up like this. Like, I don't know if there's more behind the scenes. Maybe Elon's been trying to talk to Trump and Trump's been ignoring him. Because this all came out of nowhere. And I know a lot of people just like a few days ago were talking about Elon's drug usage, which he's been open about having a prescription to ketamine and anything. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But it does seem like he's just going for the heart here. And like I said, the whole thing with him saying he's on Epstein's island, I think this was made up too. I think that would have came out by now. The Democrats controlled things for 4 years. They literally were spending years trying to do anything they could to make Trump look bad. They would have brought this out if this is true. It's not. I think Elon, where he said, thanks to him, Trump won the election. Trump was going to win no matter what. Nobody wanted Kamala as the president. Now, whether we would still win the House, that's up for grabs. I don't know how much money Elon spent when it came to House representatives and their elections, because the House is close. Senate, we probably would have still won. So, but the presidency, Trump was going to win no matter what. I think that was just stupid to say. I think they're both really just acting like children right now. Like, there's no reason to do it. Like, do this in private. You don't need to do this all over the internet for people to see. This is just a ridiculous way to act. And especially because they're both net positives for the country. Like Elon's whole Doge movement, everyone loved. Trump just being president in general, people are positive about. They love how he's fixed the border. He's working on bringing price of energy down, costs down. Like, they're both really good for the progress of America. And it's honestly really bad that they're beefing with each other because they need to work together. And I'm hoping maybe they can work past this. There's actually some people on Twitter that think this is all fake and that it's just staged. I don't think that. It'll be interesting to see if this keeps going farther, if Trump does want to cancel his actual contracts like he says that he might, which I think would be stupid because he does do a lot good with SpaceX. And I think that's important. So, I mean, we'll see. This whole thing has just been blown out of proportion. I don't even know what to say about this at this point. Like, I think they're both acting like children. You know, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily on either side here. They both bring up good points. They both bring up stupid points. I think when it comes to this bill, I think there's a lot of stuff Trump doesn't know about in the bill. I think he sees his big points that are there, like no tax on overtime, tips, stuff like that, and that's what matters to him, but I don't think he sees all the rest of it. And like I said, I think Elon should bring that up if all that stuff's true, instead of just saying it. So as of right now, that's all the coverage of the Elon-Donald Trump beef. It's been an absolutely crazy news day. I'm sure, knowing both of them, their personalities, this will probably keep going. I can't imagine it stopping until it goes too far where it's just, Trump's cutting off his funding or Elon's exposing more or something. I don't know. Well, we'll see how far this goes. We'll see if this bill changes at all based on all this. And we'll also see if Tesla even recovers from this. I mean, they recovered from everything before, so I'm sure this is just like this is probably the stockholders trying to tell Elon, like, hey, cut it out. What are you doing? It's like a message. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation. Like, this is wild. Like, I had to make sure I made a video on this. This is just crazy. Subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and I'll catch you next time.